Welcome to Mr. Chalk's Revision Tips. In this video we will look at the blood, the composition of the blood and hemoglobin. So red blood cells transport oxygen around the body for aerobic respiration. They must be able to absorb oxygen in the lungs. They pass through narrow blood vessels and release oxygen in the respiring cells. Red blood cells have adapted to make them suitable for this, so they contain hemoglobin, which is a red protein that combines with oxygen. They have no nucleus, so they can contain or have more room to contain more hemoglobin. They're small and flexible, so they've got a biconcave shape, so they can fit through narrow vessels. And that biconcave shape allows them to have a greater surface area for absorbing oxygen. So some athletes train at high altitude. So training at high altitude increases the number of red blood cells. So explain why having more red blood cells is advantageous to the athlete. So you need to be talking about the fact that that would give them more hemoglobin, so therefore they'd be able to carry more oxygen around the body, which could be used by respiration in the muscles, which would give them more energy. Red blood cells have very thin membranes, so this allows oxygen to diffuse quickly through them. So the cells themselves are thin, so there is only a short diffusion distance. Like we said before, red blood cells contain hemoglobin that, when it combines with oxygen, forms the molecule oxyhemoglobin. So hemoglobin binds with oxygen in the lungs, where there is a high concentration of oxygen, and releases the oxygen in places like muscles where there is a low concentration of oxygen. So if we describe in detail the function of hemoglobin, you've got to be talking about it carrying oxygen, and when it carries oxygen it forms oxyhemoglobin from the lungs to the tissues. And describe one way in which the structure of the red blood cell is different from the structure of the white blood cell. It's a fact, the big important fact is that red blood cells don't have a nucleus. Lymphocytes, or white blood cells, make up about 25% of the white blood cells. They're part of the body's immune system. So they produce antibodies which attach to antigens. Antigens are substances found on the surfaces of pathogens, so things like bacteria. Different antibodies will attach to different antigens. So in this way the body's immune system can recognise foreign antigens, antigens that are not normally produced by the body but by the pathogens instead. Platelets are what enables the blood to clot. So if the skin is cut, so the wound must be closed relatively quickly to prevent blood loss. So the blood contains tiny fragments of cells called platelets, and these platelets are involved in forming scabs. Phagocytes, so about 70% of white blood cells are phagocytes. They're part of the body's immune system but do not produce antibodies. So instead they go around and ingest pathogens such as bacteria. So they do this by surrounding the bacteria and enclosing it into a vesicle. They secrete enzymes into this vesicle to destroy the bacteria, and the process of ingesting a pathogen is called phagocytosis. Blood plasma is the watery liquid component of the blood. It suspends the red blood cells, the white blood cells, the platelets within it. It also goes and carries dissolved nutrients around the body. So if we're looking at what part of the blood transports carbon dioxide, and what part of the blood transports the oxygen, and what part of the blood helps clot the wounds, it's the plasma that carries the carbon dioxide. Red blood cells carry the oxygen, platelets help clot wounds. What part of the blood defends against microorganisms, and what part of the blood transports products from digestion? Well, it's the white blood cells that form part of the immune system that protect against microorganisms, and the plasma carries the products of digestion. Urea is transported in blood plasma. So name 2 of the substances that are transported in blood plasma. It could be anything from carbon dioxide, water, glucose, amino acids, or lactic acid. Thanks for watching.